There's a robbery gone wrong, and right before the truck hits two kids, Queen Maeve shows up to save them. The robbers took the kids hostage, but Homelander showed up to save the kids from the robbers. We have Huey watching the news about their heroic act while helping a customer. Robin picks Huey up from the store to go on their date. Along the way, they were kissing, and in a flash she explodes because A-Train ran right through her. After Robin's funeral, Huey sees A-Train on the news apologizing for the accidental murder of Robin, and he has a fake reason why it happened. A lawyer from Vought shows up to offer Huey hush money, but he wants to think about it first before taking it. Huey wants to sue A-Train, but his dad wants him to take the hush money because they both have no backbone. Huey leaves to buy beer, but he has a panic attack after seeing A-Train plastered everywhere. In Iowa, Annie aka Starlight is training to become a hero and films her ability to apply to the Seven, which is a hero organization, because she wants to save people. Later on, Starlight gets a call that she got the job. Ashley welcomes Starlight as the newest member of the Seven, while Madeline reports Vought's earnings to the shareholders. The Deep goes onto the stage to talk about Lamplighter retiring and introduces Starlight, who will be replacing him. Later, the Deep shows Starlight their headquarters, and he finds out she had a crush on the Deep when she was younger. When he hears this, he starts whacking himself off in front of Starlight, and she storms off. He wants to finish whacking off in front of her, so he threatens to remove her from the Seven if she leaves. Starlight pukes in the washroom because she is disgusted by his actions. Queen tells her to clean herself up and calls out Translucent for being a peeping perv. When Huey is working, Butcher came to talk with him because he knew Huey didn't take the hush money. Butcher wants to help Huey and brings him to a place where Soups can do whatever they want because the media isn't there. They watch a recording of A-Train laughing at Robin's death. He gives Huey a police report and finds out A-Train was lying to cover up the murder. Butcher wants Huey to sign the NDA with A-Train there and wiretap the place. Huey doesn't want to do it and leaves. The next day, Starlight tries to tell her mom Donna what happened, but she keeps on interrupting, so Starlight doesn't tell her. After the call, she starts crying next to Huey and he tries to comfort her. They talk about what they're going through and Huey cheers her up. Huey goes to Butcher because he wants revenge, so Huey calls the lawyer to get the NDA signed. The lawyer hangs up on him because of the condition, but Butcher assures him that they will take the deal. Butcher gives Huey a rundown of what he needs to do, and Huey waits for the lawyer. On Starlight's first day, Homelander welcomes her to the group while the Deep makes snarky comments. Starlight claps back at his comment and threatens him to watch out. Homelander wants to know who they saved and asks everyone. When Huey sees A-Train, he starts having a panic attack, but he is able to overcome it and accepts the apology from A-Train. Huey goes to the washroom to get the wiretap out, but Man has buttery fingers and drops it. When Starlight comes in, he stays quiet until she leaves to pick up the wiretap. Translucent was there to see what Huey was doing, and Huey goes out to sign the paper to stick the wiretap under the table. Butcher brings Huey back to work and Huey wants to be a sidekick, but Butcher doesn't need a sidekick. Gary wants Huey to close up, but Translucent came to question Huey and starts attacking him. Right before Translucent hits Huey with a TV, Butcher drives the car into Translucent, knocking him away. Butcher and Translucent fight, but Butcher is getting his ass whooped because he can't see where Translucent is. Translucent holds onto his arms, giving him a chance to spit blood on him to fight back, but he still gets wrecked by Translucent. Huey decided not to leave and tried to electrocute Translucent. The wire was too short, so Butcher kicked him onto it, killing him on the spot. Butcher gets Huey to help move him after the fight, but Huey reluctantly helps after finding out Butcher isn't with the feds. On the car ride, Translucent starts making noise in the trunk and they go to Frenchie's place. Frenchie opens the trunk to find Translucent there and he freaks out because they are chipped. Butcher threatens Frenchie to help because Translucent's seen his face. Frenchie is forced to help and brings him to an abandoned building. They put Translucent in a cage where he can't escape or get tracked from the chip. They think of ways to kill him, and Huey isn't on board with this plan, but they don't care. Back at Vought, Madeline is pissed because A-Train didn't have a script, and that's why he blundered the meeting with the dying boy. Also, they have no clue what happened to Translucent, so they get Starlight to team up with the Deep to go on a mission. Starlight doesn't want to go, but Ashley convinces her to do it. Homelander goes to Madeline's office to ask about Translucent. They are still looking for Translucent, but in the meantime, she wants Homelander to charm the congressman. Homelander has a meeting with the Deep because he told Madeline what he saw in his mission before him. He warns the Deep to never do anything like that and lets him go. Frenchie makes a bullet to kill Translucent and loads it in the sniper. Butcher shoots him, but the bullet bounces off of him, causing Huey's jammer to have a hole. The hole let Annika track Translucent to Jersey City, and Madeline gets people to search the area because they can't get his accurate location. The Deep and Starlight go on their mission together while the Deep complains about Vought. Starlight warns the Deep if he ever touches her, she's gonna burn his eyes out. They see a truck and a couple of men who are using toys to traffic drugs. Starlight shows up and hits them with an energy blast. Some of them try to escape, but the Deep stops them from leaving. Ashley shows up with cameras and tells Starlight what to do. Butcher breaks into Susan's house to get her to help because she is the deputy director of the CIA. He wants the Mallory files, but she denies him because Butcher made it impossible to get those files and kicks him out. Huey tries to get Translucent to talk about A-Train, but he doesn't know anything. He only knows how to read people and understands what Huey is feeling. Huey leaves when Translucent brags about his life and threatens Huey with Homelander. At a party, Madeline tries to lobby the senators to get the heroes into the national defense. Senator Callhound doesn't think it's gonna happen because the government doesn't own the heroes. He takes a liking to a bartender, and later they would have some kinky action. She puts a blindfold on him and transforms into a man to take some selfies. The next morning, Madeline blackmails Callhound with the pictures. He calls it fake, but Madeline transforms into the man, and the real Madeline comes in to tell Callhound to get the heroes into the army. Homelander goes to Annika and threatens her to get Translucent's last signal so he can search for him. Huey and Frenchie talk about what it feels like after killing someone. After the talk, Frenchie gets an idea how to kill Translucent when watching a show. They shove a bomb up his ass because his skin is indestructible but his insides are soft like a turtle. Translucent freaks out and starts spilling the beans. Right before they were going to blow him up, Frenchie notices Homelander flying by. So Frenchie gets Charlie to blow up his house to cause a distraction. Homelander questions Frenchie and he scans the van. Luckily, Butcher snuck out of the van before Homelander could use his X-ray vision, and Butcher sets off the bomb. Homelander hears the explosion and flies over there. Translucent pees in a cup to shut off the electricity to escape from the cage. When he gets out, Huey tells him to get back inside or he's gonna blow him up. Translucent tells Huey to chill, otherwise the hero won't stop looking for him if he pulls the trigger. Huey lets him go, but when he sees a baby picture, he gets triggered and blows up Translucent. Huey cleans himself while the others clean up the remains and they put the remains in a box. Butcher blows up the place before leaving to get rid of the evidence. Huey goes home to change and tears his room apart. He packs his things after going off on Hugh and Frenchie cheers him up when they leave. Starlight goes to Madeline's office to get roasted, but the girl who was getting SA'd came out to defend Starlight. They want to capitalize on the hype and gets her to look like a 304, but she doesn't want a costume upgrade. Madeline threatens Starlight with her job and she unwillingly agrees to it. Butcher goes to recruit MM, but he declines until Butcher brags about killing Translucent. MM joins the team and when they meet up in the truck, MM freaks out because he has beef with Frenchie. They try to kill each other while Butcher tries to stop them until MM gets a call from his girl to stop the fighting. When they see Popclaw going home, they want to wiretap her apartment, but Huey thinks Butcher's equipment is trash. Huey has an idea to wiretap her apartment by getting her IP number to get access to all the electronics. So Huey and MM go to her apartment to get access. When Huey sees A-Train on her computer, he freezes up until MM gets him back on track. Once they get the feed rolling, they leave, but they bump into A-Train and Huey almost got them killed. Queen is training and Homelander calls her because he is concerned about Translucent. They go to an armed robbery while Queen beats the shooter and Homelander does the killing blow. Homelander shoots Queen to justify the killing to self-defense, and they call it a day. A-Train and Popclaw gets intimate, but he is stressed for the upcoming race because he could get kicked from the 7 if he loses. He asks for Compound V, but she is against it because last time he used it, he ran right through Robin. A-Train lashes out and they start arguing until she gives him the Compound V. They learn about Compound V and Butcher wants some so Frenchie can run some tests. The team tries to steal Compound V from A-Train during the race between A-Train and Shockwave. When Starlight was signing autographs, a girl took a selfie with Starlight, but some horny men wanted to see more cleavage. Starlight storms off and Butcher lets Frenchie do his job. Huey stops Starlight from going into the room before she sees Frenchie hanging off the rope. He invites her for drinks and they are hitting it off. Frenchie looks through everything and he can't find Compound V because A-Train used it already. MM watches the surveillance camera and sees Popclaw getting ready to use Compound V. Before Butcher leaves, he has a stare down with Homelander. When Homelander looks away to watch the race, Butcher disappears after he looks back. MM shows them Popclaw squatting a lot of plates after she used Compound V. Alex shows up to get the rent and she invites him in while he looks at the naked pictures of her. She lets Alec eat her up and when she gets off, she kills him in the process. Butcher and Frenchie goes to deal with the mess, but in return, Popclaw has to give them information. Homelander gets the Deep to show Madeline Translucent's remains and the message left for them. Butcher dreams about his past when he was smashing his wife Becca, and when he wakes up, he watches a tape of her before she disappeared. He surprises Susan to tell her about Compound V and how juicing up could give them more power. She wants hard evidence, and if he screws her over, she's gonna make him pay. The others are on the lookout for A-Train's dealer, and Frenchie thinks it's the noodle guy. They follow him to the food market and into a sketchy room. Frenchie picks the lock and takes another route when they see the noodle guy eating with people. They find a room full of things and Frenchie sees a girl caged up watching TV. Frenchie frees her from the cage and the other man comes in guns blazing. The girl goes after the gunman and brutally kills them. The noodle guy sees the torturing and takes the easy way out for a painless death. They take the opportunity to escape and lock her out of the room. Butcher sees the aftermath and MM finds the Compound V, so Butcher gets MM to find the source. Huey gets a bunch of notifications so Butcher looks through it. Butcher wants Huey to go on the date to mic her up because she's a soup. Back at Vought, Madeline is with the PR team Seth and Evan to spin the narrative on Translucent's whereabouts. Madeline gets a call about a hijacking in progress, and she gets Homelander and Queen to save the plane so no one can stop their agenda. A-Train goes to his supplier and leaves when he sees them all dead. He goes back home to confront Popclaw because only they know about that location. She lies to him and A-Train moves her out of town to keep her safe from Homelander. During the bowling date, Huey gets distracted after a loud noise, and when he snaps back, he asks about Translucent. When he finds out Translucent has a son, he is devastated. He keeps on spacing out during the date and finds an excuse by calling out Starlight's bowling skills. On her next turn, she hits a strike and Huey is surprised. Later, Starlight talks about her ex who ghosted her after she defended him from bullies. Huey has a panic attack when he sees Robin staring at them, and Starlight walks off. Before she goes back to the table, Huey plants the bug in her phone. In the plane, the hijackers are getting everyone to sit down until the door opens, and one of the hijackers gets sucked out of the plane. Queen kills one of them when he slides over to her, and Homelander kills the last one with heat vision. Homelander closes the door and everyone cheers for them. Queen breaks into the cockpit and sees a hijacker killing the last pilot. Homelander kills him with heat vision, but he also destroys the airplane controls. Queen tries to get Homelander to save the plane, but he makes excuses from doing so. Queen chose to go with Homelander and they watch the plane go down. On the other side, Butcher's team acted like investigators to ask the employees questions about the girl in the cell, and when they saw A-Train, they left. Found out Roberto smuggled in a ton of immigrants like the girl. They see A-Train leaving, but Frenchie knows where the girl is going. Got his people to investigate the V, and they found out it came from Samaritan's Embrace. They split up afterwards to look for the girl. Frenchie goes into a store because it had a show the girl watched, and he found her there. He tries to approach her by telling her about his past, and offers to help her. The show changed, and she knocks over a table to run away. When they regroup, starts roasting Frenchie for goofing around, and they start fighting until Butcher stops them. Wants to quit, but Butcher makes some great reference about Spice Girls, and they continue looking for the girl. They find her in the subway and start chasing after her, but A-Train gets to her first before they can. She tries to fight back, but he easily beats her with his speed. Butcher stops him from helping because she's a lost cause, until Frenchie acts like a fanboy exposing A-Train's location. He stops smashing her head on the wall to greet his fans while the girl runs away. They follow after the girl to put her to sleep, but Frenchie doesn't want to and offers to help her. The girl attacks Frenchie, so Butcher gasses both of them. Later on, reporters are at the plane wreck that was washed ashore, and Homelander makes a compelling speech why soups need to be in the military so they can avoid tragedies like this. In Cuba, A-Train asks Popclaw who knew about Compound V, and she tells him what they look like. Once she tells him everything, A-Train shoots her up with Compound V, leading to her ODing. A-Train goes back to Vought to report to Homelander, but he already knew A-Train was using Compound V to win the race. He thanks Homelander for giving him a chance to fix the problem, but before he leaves, Homelander reminds him about the girl. Starla and Huey are going on a second date at the Christian Expo, and she tells him this place helps her relax from all the crazy things she has to put up with. Huey hides from Ashley as she arrives to get Starlight ready for her speech. During Ezekiel's rally, Butcher gets Huey to meet with Ezekiel to ask about Compound V. Butcher tells Huey to blackmail Ezekiel to find out where he's getting his supplies. Kids ask Starlight questions at the teen roundtable, but she isn't allowed to answer the truth to maintain her reputation. After the meeting, Starlight is conflicted because she doesn't want to lie to the kids. Huey asks Starlight to get the diamond pass for him, and she reluctantly agrees to help. On the other side, Homelander is giving a speech to the people who died on the plane crash, but Queen walks off because she can't handle the lies. Once Homelander is done with his speech, he tries to comfort Queen, but it doesn't help her at all. A-Train was reminiscing about his time with Popclaw, but it switches to the time Butcher and Frenchie showed up at the apartment when Popclaw killed the owner. He goes to Vought after to run a background check on Frenchie. Homelander flies to the Christian Expo after the speech to talk with Madeline, but she isn't there, so he threatens Ashley to tell him where she is. He flies to Madeline because he doesn't like how his speech sounds so corporate. They argue a bit, but Madeline brings her baby for a checkup. Huey meets Homelander at the private event and he questions Huey until Ezekiel starts the event. Once the event is over, Huey waits until everyone is gone to talk with Ezekiel. Huey tries to show him the video, but his phone isn't working due to water damage, so he blackmails Ezekiel by telling him what they did together. Luckily, Ezekiel breaks and tells Huey everything. Huey tells a shipment is going to NICU at Mercer's hospital, and compliments Huey for being a natural at it. During Homelander's speech at the expo, he goes off script. Madeline is pissed he went off script, but everyone else at the expo is cheering for Homelander. Later, Starlight tries to convince Donna from doing her speech, but Donna guilt trips her, and she forces herself to do it. During Starlight's speech, she stops midway to speak her truth and exposes what the Deep did to her. Once she's done, she leaves the stage and Huey chases after her because he loved her speech. She doesn't buy it until Huey tells her about Robin dying, and they make up after she knows Huey isn't playing her. Homelander is back at Vought and Madeline sees Homelander watching her through the wall, so she invites him in. When Homelander goes in, she starts treating him like a baby. Sherry warns Frenchie that Black Noir was at her place, so all the other hideouts are probably exposed. Butcher and go to the hospital to check the place out, and Frenchie tells Butcher all his addresses have been burned. Frenchie doesn't want to leave the girl, but Butcher doesn't care and tells him to leave her there. Frenchie packs his things and tries to convince the girl to go with him, but she chose to run away when Frenchie freed her. Butcher finds Compound V in the hospital, and they find out that babies get their superpowers from Compound V. After Butcher gets a sample of Compound V, guards come in ready to kill them, but they are able to get cover. Butcher pulls the incubator to them so he can use the baby's heat vision to take out the guards. They put back the baby into the incubator once they killed off the guards and left. When Frenchie leaves the hideout, he sees Black Noir and hides, but when he walks away, Black Noir shows up right in front of him. Luckily, the girl body slams Black Noir out of nowhere and gives Frenchie the chance to escape. Black Noir fights with the girl, but he overpowers her and kills her in the end. Frenchie comes back after Black Noir left to mourn her death because she saved him, but suddenly she starts recovering from the wounds. He is relieved to see this and believes it's a miracle. The media is trashing Starlight's image, but the people are supporting her. Huey cheers her up until Anthony interrupts them because he hasn't seen Huey in a while. Anthony introduces himself and tells stories about the past. Huey walks off because he is too embarrassed. Anthony catches up with Huey after, and he is worried about Huey because he ghosted everyone after Robin's death. Before leaving, he tells Huey to live his life because Robin would want that for him. is briefing everyone how they distribute Compound V to the hospitals. Every soup got their powers from Compound V other than Homelander because they have no info on him. Huey wants to go out with Starlight again, but Butcher brings Huey along with him. Starlight is told to go to Madeline's office, but before she goes in, she hears people arguing. Ashley storms out of the office and blames Starlight for everything, but now she is relieved because she doesn't have to deal with Starlight's BS anymore. When she goes in, Madeline demands Starlight to do what they tell her or she's gonna get fired. Starlight threatens to come out with SA allegations, which will tank the stock price if her conditions aren't met. Also, she won't hold back and answer who did it if they fire her. When Starlight leaves, she meets Queen on the elevator. She accused Queen for being a fake hero after Queen insulted her. Butcher brings Huey to a healing circle where people would say what they've been through after dealing with a soup. Butcher makes inappropriate remarks, so Sheila lets Butcher talk and he lashes out when calling them pathetic soup lovers. They should be mad at the soups because they intentionally injured them for the laughs. He leaves once he finished roasting them for being cowards. Madeline tells the Deep he needs to apologize to Starlight and he's getting transferred to Ohio to wait till it dies down. So the Deep publicly apologizes to Starlight on the news. Goes to a soup convention to meet with Mesmer. Mesmer takes a peep into what is thinking and he has no clue how he knows Cleo. Brings Mesmer to meet his daughter Cleo, but after a brief meeting, Tina takes Cleo away. Mesmer can see Cleo every month for an hour if he helps read someone. Frenchie brings the girl so Mesmer can help find out about the girl's past. When he goes through her memory, she freaks out and breaks his wrist. Gets everyone to calm down and tries to patch him up, but Butcher calls him for his location. Butcher knows is lying because they are all GPS tagged. After Butcher's outburst, they go to a park while he reminisces about the good old times with Becca until Homelander graped her. After the grape, she sat where they were sitting, because the CCTV tagged her there for 3 hours and she disappeared after that. Butcher understands what Huey is going through, and that's why he thinks it's a bad idea to get with a soup. He reminds Huey who his friends and enemies are. When Butcher goes to Mesmer's place, Butcher wants to kill him after they are done, but has another way to keep him quiet. Mesmer looks into her memories again and finds out she's a soldier for the Shining Light Liberation Army. She was smuggled in as a recruit and pumped with Compound V so she could cause havoc when she's freed. Vought gave Compound V away so they could create villains for Homelander to fight. Frenchie tries to convince them the girl is good, but Butcher isn't buying it, so she goes to Mesmer to continue. When she was young, she was kidnapped with her brother and they were forced to be soldiers. Her name is Kimiko and Mesmer ends the session. After hearing her story, Butcher lets her stay and goes to Susan with the info to get the feds involved. Butcher brings out the Compound V and he has demands before giving the Compound V to her. She agrees to most of his demands but not Homelander because it could be a disaster. Butcher leaves and takes the Compound V with him because his main goal is to get Homelander. Homelander complains to Madeline because they brought his blanket to the film set. Madeline pleaded to Homelander to finish the film because it could help him get into the military while feeling him up.
Once he finishes the tour, he takes the blanket and reminisces about when he was an infant. Butcher goes back to the hideout to let them know Susan backed out and he plans to take down Vought themselves. He wonders where Huey is but he's having another date with Starlight. Huey finds out she was born with her powers but she didn't want to talk about Soup's things anymore and they switch the topic. He takes the lead to kiss her and when they're making out Butcher interrupts them. They talk for a bit until Starlight excuses herself to get more drinks. Butcher isn't happy with Huey hanging out with the Soup but Huey thinks she could help them. He leaves before Starlight comes back. On the other side, Mesmer meets with Homelander to sell out Butcher's team and hopes to get a 5-figure job. After Homelander sees their picture he flies away. 8 years ago Vought was throwing a Christmas party and Homelander greets Becca who's the new senior director of digital marketing. Homelander wants Becca to deal with his social media accounts because she did a great job before but they will go over the details later because Queen is calling him. Back to the present, Butcher stalks Huey to a hotel. Huey and Starlight enjoy a passionate night together. The next morning Starlight wants to make sure Huey isn't a Chad or Tyrone because her dad took everything before he left. Huey assures her that they are different and he will bring her to see Hugh later. Back at Vought, Homelander looks at the profiles and remembers Butcher from the stadium and Christmas event. The Deep settles in Sandusky and Jeff will call the Deep if any crimes appear, but that isn't likely. Homelander calls for the Seven to a meeting to roast them for being useless other than Black Noir. He lets them know that Huey is one of the people who killed Translucent and Starlight is shocked. Homelander blames A-Train because he smashed through Robin, but he knows Huey can't do it by himself, so he must have gotten help from others. When Starlight tries to defend him, Homelander threatens her to sit down so he can continue roasting her. Queen defends Starlight for not knowing and for being too gullible. Homelander lets Starlight go when Queen takes responsibility for her and he ends the meeting. Everyone is doing their own thing until Huey comes back and Huey wants to quit because he likes Starlight. Butcher roasts Huey for getting with the soup, but Huey claps back with his dead wife. Huey gets a call from his dad, but it was A-Train calling him and he warns Huey to show up soon, otherwise he's going to kill Hugh. They all found out their personal life had been burned and all their assets got frozen up. Butcher blames Huey, but MM knows it wasn't Huey because Starlight has never seen MM. Butcher figures out it was Mesmer and walks off. Huey goes home to check if Hugh is okay and A-Train comes back to confront him. He made sure Huey didn't have any backup and was about to kill him until Huey brought out Compound V. Huey offered more Compound V as long as he let Hugh go, and when Hugh left, Huey triggered A-Train about their girlfriends. Kimiko came out of nowhere when they were arguing and broke his leg. Huey mocks him and leaves. MM tries to convince Monique to leave with him because it isn't safe for them, but she isn't okay with it until she sees Janine and changes her mind. Madeline wants to celebrate after getting 3 more votes from the senators, but Homelander wants to know what happened to Becca because Butcher is causing problems. She downplays the issue and changes the topic to hang out, but Homelander walks away. Mesmer tries to leave town and he runs away from Butcher when they see each other. He hides in the washroom, but Butcher finds him because Butcher put a tracker in Mesmer's shirt. When Butcher is beating his ass, Mesmer can see his past and offers to help him. Butcher lets him see more, and in a fit of rage, he starts beating Mesmer brutally. We get a flashback when Grace showed Butcher what happened to Becca when she was talking with Homelander. Grace shows Butcher this because she wants to help him get payback. After the meeting, Queen comforts Starlight because the people they are close to are their weakness. Everyone is with their family in the safe house and Butcher tries to greet everyone until Monique slaps him for putting her in this situation. MM talks to Butcher about Susan's interest in Compound V, but Butcher messes it all up because Homelander can't be involved. He doesn't want Grace's family to happen to his family because they are in a lot more shit than before and begs Butcher to call Susan. A while later, cars show up at their safe house and they all prepare to have a shootout. Butcher casually walks out to welcome them inside and Susan takes their family to a safe place. She takes Compound V from Butcher to confirm their deal. Starlight calls Huey to get closure because he owes her that. They meet up at the park and Starlight finds out Huey killed Translucent. Starlight wants to bring him to the police, so Huey tells her about Compound V. Butcher comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at Starlight so Huey can get away. Luckily the bullets don't do much damage to her. Homelander visits Jonah to ask about Becca. He tells him Becca was pregnant and she was moved to a secure location to give birth without telling anyone. When she was giving birth, the baby crawled out of her, which caused her to lose a lot of blood, and they both died because of it. They never told Homelander because they were trying to protect their most valuable asset. He regrets not raising Homelander in a loving family because he was raised like a lab rat and now he could be a dangerous person. Susan brings Madeline in to let her know that Vought is screwed because they know about Compound V. She demands Madeline to end Soups going into the military and everything goes back to normal. If Vought refuses to accept these terms, Susan is ready to expose them all to the public. Susan leaves after getting a note to watch the military take out the guy behind the hijacking, but they encounter a Soup villain codenamed Captain who kills them all. The worst part is Captain doesn't die from the explosion. In Syria, the military is conducting an operation and suddenly Homelander arrives to help them out. Homelander infiltrates the warehouse and kills 2 workers with heat vision. The soldiers are outside watching the warehouse lit up while Homelander does the dirty work by wiping out everyone inside. He kills the last guy who was running away and gives Compound V to the soldiers. Robert asks how the Islamic State counterfeited Compound V and assumes Vought was doing shady things in the shadows. Madeline claps back because conventional army weapons can't do anything to the supervillains. So it doesn't matter how they got Compound V because only Vought can fight against these villains. Susan tells Butcher the Pentagon wants to keep Compound V classified because of the supervillains and they don't have proof Vought created these supervillains. The military deal went through and they are now labeled as fugitives because the DOJ agreed to Vaught's demands. Butcher is pissed they are getting dumped, but Susan assures him their families will be safe though. Everyone was to split, but Butcher tried to get them to stay. Kimiko is putting on makeup and hears a suspicious noise. A sleeping gas bomb was thrown inside and they fell asleep. Luckily Kimiko didn't inhale the gas due to Frenchie and she fights with the intruders. When she was trying to leave, one of them shot her with a tranquilizer and she was arrested shortly after. Butcher visits Grace to get her help because she owes him. With Butcher's amazing plea for help, she tells him Madeline might know Homelander's weakness and this is the last time she will help him. Butcher thanks her, and before they leave, Grace warns Huey that revenge is a one-way ticket to hell. On their way back, Butcher drives past the motel because he notices the police are waiting for them there. Huey wants to save their teammates, but Butcher wants to get to Madeline first because they are short on time. They argue and Huey bails because he doesn't want to be like Grace's family. So Butcher drives off to Madeline. Starlight confronts Donna about Compound V and she is disgusted when she finds out the truth. Donna agreed to let Vought pump her with Compound V because she wanted Starlight to have an exceptional life. Starlight explodes with anger because Donna is controlling her life and that's why she couldn't choose her own life. Once she found out why her dad left, she left. The Deep is excited about the military bill because he could go back to the 7 by helping the Navy train dolphins to clear mines. Jeff lets him know he's not going back and the Deep gets depressed after hearing it. Huey goes to the church to ask Starlight to help him get his teammates because Vought is up to some evil shit. Starlight hesitates to help and chooses not to get involved. At a Vought party for getting into the military, Edgar gave Madeline a pay raise and moved her office to 82 to join their meetings. Starlight is chatting it up with a soldier, but she excused herself because she needed to puke. Queen tells her they are the same because she was once like Starlight who cared, but she gave too many pieces of herself away and it broke her. She tells Starlight to be who she really is and leaves. Homelander tells Madeline about the soup villain who showed up at the perfect time because he made them so only Vought can deal with them. She thanks Homelander by making out with him, then they go to her office to enjoy some more fun. After their fun, Madeline tells Homelander about her promotion and he finds out something about his kid. Huey turns something on before going back to the motel. He gets tackled and brought to where MM and Frenchie are being held. They are happy. Huey tries to save them while Butcher goes after Homelander. Huey tries to get his retainer out but it's stuck, so MM punches it out for him. When they get out, Frenchie knocks a guard out but the CCTV catches them. When they are escaping, Frenchie sees Kimiko strapped to a stretcher and then he gets shot at by the guards. MM helps to save Kimiko because he sees Frenchie's determination to save her. Huey covers MM and luckily hits one of them. When MM gets Kimiko, Huey covers him till he gets back, but Huey runs out of ammo. The guards surround them until Starlight saves them. When they were about to get away, A-Train showed up to confront them. Starlight tells Huey to leave but he doesn't want to go without her. She pleads to a drugged-up A-Train to walk away but he doesn't back down. With A-Train's speed he dodges her attacks and knocks her down. When A-Train is blaming Huey for Popclaw's death, he has a heart attack. Huey starts giving him CPR and Starlight tells Huey to go because she doesn't want him to be detained again. He goes while Starlight continues doing CPR. When Madeline goes home, Butcher confronts her because she is Homelander's weakness. Homelander goes to Madeline's place and Butcher calls him to come out. They confront each other while Homelander shits on Becca for being a 304 for fame. He asked what Butcher's endgame is and Butcher just wants to hurt him, but he's not sure if Homelander killed her. Homelander confronts Madeline because she lied to him about Becca and demands the truth. After Madeline tells him the truth, he kills her. Butcher blows the place up after, but he wakes up later with Homelander standing above him. Homelander meets with his boy and Butcher reunites with Becca. Well, that's it for The Boys Season 1. If you got up to this far and want to watch more recaps, here are some options on the side. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.